It is said that humans have been blowing it hot for over 3,500 years. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the art of glass blowing. Chances are you are like most people own multiple pieces of glass, but you did not know up until now the technical and creative process involved in creating glass art. In this segment of Frame, art professor Conifer Smith and glass blowing artist John Grzan are here to explain the technical and creative process involved in the art of glass blowing. Welcome to Frame, Conifer and John. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Conifer has accepted me as her beginning student today, and I'm wearing the right attire and have my safety goggles prepped for the process. Now, how long is the upstart to learning this art form?
So we start out making a flat piece where we just take cut glass and we put it into a pleasing fashion in a nice composition, and then we melt it all flat.
If I understand you correctly, once I go through the safety procedures and have a little 101 about glass and where it comes from, then I can start playing and creating something like this.
Then you learn how to slump it into a mold, and that creates a functional piece of artwork, say a bowl or a sushi platter, something like that.
Sushi sounds good.
Then after we get people familiar with glass and the temperatures at which it melts and how to combine colors with glass, you're combining optic colors. It's not like paint, so it's more like that you combine colors on a computer screen.
Okay.
So that's the other thing that we're looking at is what the glass looks like when there's light going through.
And I'm going to do something today. I don't know what my assignment is, so stay tuned. But beginning. One of these will meet my table, so to speak, right?
Well, we're going to jump Yvette way ahead of the process.
Because I'm so advanced.
Yes, she's a very bright person. So. When we get to the blowing process, we're making an ornament or a hanging sphere. So the first blown project they do is this sphere. And we are going to move into making a vase form, and Yvette is going to blow into the pipe, and John Grzan and I are going to work on the piece also, and the three of us are going to attempt to make a vase that has a white color thread and that has a beautiful bird-like neck on it.
Oh my goodness, I gotta tell you, I'm so excited but so nervous, but that's part of the process and experience in creating art, is to go outside your comfort zone. So this is new to me, and you will see this as it all unfolds. We're moments away from the big reveal, haha. Now, okay, Conifer, what are we doing now?
We're going to put our safety glasses on.
Okay.
And we're going to get a blowpipe, and we're going to gather glass out of the furnace, and then we're going to roll it on this barbering table, and we're going to bring it over, and then you're going to blow into the pipe. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to handle it. I'm going to try to keep it on center, and we're going to have Yvette blow into the pipe.
All right.
Okay?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Now you're going to get...
So I have my hot pipe,
pipe,
and I'm going to gather glass out of the furnace.
And this is the blue glass you were talking about.
This is the recycled blue glass. Yes.
Okay. And that is pretty toasty. And you're following all procedures.
So
that is so cool.
I'm going to come over here, and if I can get you to come around here.
Okay, I'm crossing
great.
over.
Yes. And I'm pushing as much glass off the end of the pipe as I can.
Off the end?
Yes, and then I am going to ask you to blow into the pipe. Okay, stop. Woo! Did you see that bubble? She did it. She has a bubble. So now what we're going to do is wait for this glass to lose the glowing red aspect.
Okay.
And when it stops glowing, you will see a slight blue cast to the glass, and then we're going to gather again, and we're going to blow again.
Really? So
Yes.
you keep layering on.
Right.
How do you know how big this is going to
Well, this piece we're going to make fairly small.
Okay.
For our purposes today. But what we're going to do is we're going to gather one more gather.
be? Okay.
And then you are going to help John get the color wrap ready, and we're going to wrap it with a different color so that we have a 2 different colored piece.
Okay. A blue with white striping effect.
Right,
Okay.
with the right spiral wrap on it.
This is
So
exciting.
now it's lost its color, so we're
Okay.
going to blow again. Half this temporary glue that you have on here, the temporary glass piece.
Dawn's at the ready with the mid, and then it goes over here.
It's at 1,000 degrees, 960 degrees. We turn that on in the morning, leave it that way all day long, and then at night it slowly cools the pieces so that they don't break.
So we'll show the finished piece after it goes through this last portion of the creation. Very, very exciting. Thank you. When's the last time you have used tools like these to create works of art like these? In this segment, we're exploring the craft of ceramics. And with me to help you understand how these tools work to create works like this, hopefully better, is Ben Jensen, Executive Director of the Ceramic Center. Ben, welcome to Frame. Thanks for being on the show and having us in the center here. What are we looking at?
Just the tools of the craft. Nothing fancy really. Just some stamps, cutting tools, a variety of ribs.
And ribs are?
Ribs are really, really old tools. Originally made out of bone. Now we make them out of fiberglass, metal, and wood. Okay. But they're good shaping and scraping tools for the surfaces.
So like I can create this. I brought this in because it gave me a chuckle. I probably made this in the 2nd grade. I signed it, so I was kind of smart. Yeah, we'll see how this goes on eBay.
It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you. I'm proud of my grade school pieces, and I'm sure all of us have something like this in our collection. How about we start with the process? You take over. Where do we begin to?
Okay. Well, one of the projects we have for you today is to create a vase using slabs.
Okay.
So slabs are just rolled out flat sheets of clay.
Okay.
It's a really nice building block.
Okay.
Something that's pretty simple, and you can kind of learn a lot of the basics of how clay behaves. So basically what we're going to start off with is just by kind of leveling off the top to the bottom, and or if you want, you can kind of, artist choice. You can kind of, whatever you would like the top to be. If you want it angled, wavy, or just straight, you can kind of cut that, and then we'll go from there.
Let's go with some curves. Curves are good.
You want to just kind of cut a fairly perpendicular line to that bottom.
Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm sure it'll be as straight
Perfect.
as a rule.
So we're going to use this cardboard tube with some newspaper wrapped around it as our mold.
To take this, roll up the edge, roll it over until this piece.
Until the clay meets,
And then not go too deep, but just score it.
Right, just make a little line there so we know about how long it needs to be. Yep, all the way top to bottom. Perfect. So we're going to get this ready for joining. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of pinch this. So if you kind of want to pinch that edge, and then we'll kind of pinch this. Basically just kind of squeezing it a little bit to thin it out.
So on both sides?
Yep, we'll kind of pinch it on both sides. And we're going to do a process called slipping and scoring.
Okay.
All right, so if you take a little of this water, and you can actually use clay slip, but the water will work all right for our purposes.
Okay.
Then we're going to use this toothed rib.
Okay.
And we're going to score it. All right, we're going to make these scratch marks down through that slip. So what we're doing is we're making really gooey fingers of clay, so then when we press these together, they're going to kind of just squish in there. What we'll do for you is we'll just pull this up. So then you want to do this same thing to this,
on this side.
To this edge. Yep.
Being too gentle.
Perfect. All right.
This is like what my mother made
Now
me
we'll
do
kinda,
was a little girl. Like, you know, you would make biscuits.
Stand that up. And we can pull that right out of there. And you can kind of start to see how your piece is taking shape. On your second grade pieces, I really love the scenes, like especially the scene with the tulips. Yeah, I really like that one a
Isn't
lot.
that pretty? I'm sure I went to the Tulip Festival in Paler or something like that. Okay, so this is where you would create your tulips.
Yeah. So with your tulips, it looked like you might have used a tool like the needle tool to draw those. So you could draw those now.
Okay, let's go for it.
You could. I'll show you just some couple of the
do
tools.
some things.
These are clay stamps, so they're actually made out of clay, and they've been fired once.
Okay.
So they're nice and porous. I'll show you on a piece of this clay. All right, so you can
Let me see that.
press that in there, and then it leaves a nice relief pattern.
And same with these.
Yeah, same with those.
You can get really jazzy. Really jazzy.
And then we have a number of these bisque clay rollers that we made, and we made these. These are just, so you can kind of roll that and just kind of make this continuous pattern, which is really fun too.
That is fun. And now tulip time?
Tulip time, I think so.
Tulip time. Okay. Oh, this is gonna get good. Let me use my point of inspiration here. Laughing, Ben.
No, I love it. I think I like that piece.
Thank you. So tell me, when did you get started in ceramics?
Much like you, a few second grade, third grade, fourth grade pieces. I'm not sure how many of those I still have. I'm sure my mom does and could pull those out of a box. But I really got into clay a little more seriously in college. Actually at Kirkwood Community College.
Oh, yes.
Started there, and then ended up getting my BFA from the University of Iowa in ceramics, and then I just kind of kept going.
And kept going.
Yeah, it was just kind of a matter of happenstance type circumstances that,
Sure.
I just never stopped. And now I'm very fortunate to be able to run a studio of this caliber.
It is quite impressive. I want to talk a little bit about the studio and the work you do in the community, because you do go into classrooms and influence people like we were influenced. So take it away.
Okay, well, the Ceramic Center, we have classes, workshops, outreach for basically anybody who is interested in the ceramic arts or warm glass. We have a great outreach program into the Cedar Rapids School District. It's called our Whole School Raku program, where we'll go in and 400 to 450 kids, as well as the staff, principal, lunch ladies, will all make a pot, and then we'll fire all these pieces in like 2 days right in front of the kids. It's a really fantastic process where they get to see the pot heated up to 2,000 degrees, pulled out, put into a barrel full of combustibles. So it's a great observational science moment, history moment, art moment, all kind of combined into one learning experience. Here at the Ceramic Center, we have a lot of the same type of activities where you can kind of come and you can take a class right here.
Like I'm doing right now.
Like you're doing now, yeah.
Just make something that makes your heart
And make
smile.
something beautiful, yeah. And you take it home, and your family all says, wow, how did you make that?
Yeah, exactly. Send a photo to my mom. Mom, look.
Yeah.
Put it in your collection. I think it's pretty cool that my parents influenced me to keep pieces. Well, of course, they kept them, but I think it's an important part of your journey to have these reference points in life, and how easy it is to learn. I think sometimes as you get older, this can be a little intimidating, the thought of trying something new and coming in here and like, what are these machines, and how do I get from here to something like this? And how long has the Ceramic Center been here?
We opened up in August of 2009.
Okay.
So 2.5 years.
Yes. and well received, and innovative programming like a CSA model for collecting ceramic art.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we have the
And
good
artist in
places.
residency program.
Yeah, which is
pretty
one of the
neat.
great things about this place is we actually have the only artist in residency program for ceramics or glass in the state of Iowa.
That's cool.
I mean, the closest place would be like Minneapolis, Minnesota, or like big cities like Chicago.
Sure.
So it's a pretty great program that we have. And so the nice thing is for people that are working here, they get to learn from, some really fantastic emerging talent, some people really coming onto the scene. And then for our residents, they get a lot of experience doing some new things, running a studio, doing the community outreach, and some of the volunteer activities that they get to do as well.
It's important to the give and get cycle of life, and
Yes.
and that's one thing about the show Frame is to bring to people's attention the innovation that is happening here in the arts.
Yeah, it is amazing all of the arts going on in the corridor. It's a very active area.
It is. It's becoming more and more active. Okay. All right. Here's the debut, the Tulip sequel, and some texture, some patterns, and of course we have to get the sunshine in there. I think let's just make it simple. And I had some.
You had kind of some background. Yeah, you had a really nice perspective going on there.
I guess I love nature, so that was clear. But I enjoy that. So
Yeah.
let's just put a little of that action in the base, and then okay, what's next, Ben?
So next for this piece, there's not a whole lot more we would do with it at this point.
Okay.
We'd put a bottom on it, so we can do that.
Oh yeah.
So that
that's important. Okay.
We would then let it dry.
Okay.
We would bisque fire it in one of our electric kilns, and then we would apply a glaze and your color then.
Okay.
And then we would fire it again. And then when it came back, it'd be nice and colorful and shiny and beautiful and ready for some tulips.
Oh, yay! Thanks so much for being on Frame, and thank you for staying tuned as we showed you the craft and art of ceramics. It's a global ancient fine art form. In this segment of Frame, we're exploring the beautiful art of mosaics. And joining me is local artist, multidisciplinary artist, Kim O'Mara. Kim, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you
Welcome
very
to
much.
Frame.
Thank you.
This area is breathtaking. Hopefully you can see what's behind us. We're on the campus of Mount Mercy University, in a very special place that you were involved in restoring. So
Yeah,
give
I
us
worked
some
on
detail.
a project that was funded by the Smithsonian, and it was called Save Outdoor Sculptures.
Yes.
Jane Gilmore, who is a professor of art here, was instrumental in working to get the grant, and that was over 10 years ago that we worked with the conservator to restore William Leitner's grotto.
Will you give us a background, the beginnings of a grotto? Where did they originate, and what are the elements involved in creating one?
Well, grottos and mosaics are both ancient art forms, and grottos actually kind of started from a religious movement where people found the need to worship kind of in private, and so that altars were kind of built out of caves and niches, and so that Christians could worship in kind of secret places that they weren't found out. So they went into these caves, and then they began to embellish them and to decorate them. And mosaics have been around for thousands of years with surface decoration, with ancient Romans,
Yes.
Greeks, the Byzantine mosaics. Actually, the Incas made beautiful mosaics. Almost every culture has a mosaic.
Do you want to give them a tour and,
Sure.
and
I
talk
can-
about your restoration
I can tell you
involvement?
that this was a labor of love. The grotto Our Lady of Sorrows was built by William Leitner, and he was an outsider artist. I believe he was an engineer by training, which makes sense if you're going to build a grotto. And he just started this, and it grew and it grew, and he would actually, story goes, he would ride the rails and get on a train car and head out west and bring back tons of rock that he'd found looking for that special stone or that special rock to incorporate into the grotto.
Dedication.
Yes.
Now, how did you get involved?
You know, I think Jane Gilmore is a friend of mine, and she knew that I was kind of the local mosaic resident artist, and I was teaching a mosaic class to my art students in Cedar Rapids schools, and asked if I could come over and bring the students over here to look at the grotto, and we just started talking, and I was the person who had the expertise to cut some of the glass that we used, and you can see a lot of stone was used, a lot of seashells, but there are areas where small pieces of glass were cut. And that's called tesserae, which tessa coming from like a four-sided object. And you actually, I believe they had schmalti, which was at one time small gold pieces of glass that had been coated with gold. We don't have any of that left, I don't believe, but I possessed the expertise to cut that and had just a love for this place. It was like a giant jigsaw puzzle where you were fitting the pieces in and trying to be true to the look of the original piece, so trying to fit those pieces in to keep the general feel the way Leitner had
intended it to be.
Intended it
gorgeous.
to be.
Now, the second part of our segment is pretty fun because Kim is allowing us in her studio. Studio where she's sharing with us her creative process and showing us a few of her recent finished pieces. Kim, what are you working on now?
Well, this is going to be actually kind of an altar piece, and I have another piece of plywood that's in exactly the same shape as this. It will be hinged and the doors will open so that it will be freestanding, and it will have mosaic on the inside and outside. So this is basically the outer door of my altar piece. I love the type of ceramics called lusterware, and that was made in Japan, and you get kind of a glistening glaze, and it comes in this nice blue-gray with the kind of terracotta color. I will eventually, it's hard to do, but I will break these pieces so that I can, you know, have certain colors that show, or pieces. And so not everything is flat. I do use cut glass, so I actually get big sheets of stained glass, and I will, I'll cut these into strips, and then I will actually nip them. And it depends on the look I want. If I want very uniformed tesserae, I will score it both ways and break it so that it's a nice even cut. But sometimes I want a little rougher edge.
Some of these have them.
Some,
I see.
Yeah, like they're a little odd shaped, and that's a look I really like too. So that I'll cut a strip, and then I'll use my nippers to do that. And so it's just a process of deciding what materials I want, and then putting the pieces together to form a mosaic. So I would like to teach you just how to cut some glass tesserae, and we'll do some strips, and then we'll eventually, these will be, I understand you really like mirror tile, and I thought this would be the perfect thing to do. So you use a diamond tip cutter. I have put kerosene into this because it lubricates and it helps the cut. It kind of flows. Glass is kind of like a hard liquid, if that makes any sense. And you have to think about surface tension. And what we're doing is we're breaking the surface tension here. Use a cork-backed ruler, and then you're just wanting to keep your ruler very still, you know, hold it down in place. I've opened this up to let some air in, because you also want to let that have some air to breathe. Hold this still. You get one shot.
Okay.
You want to make it count. So
All right,
I'm going to step in front of you and put some pressure on here. And then I'm just taking it, holding it still, and I'm just moving in one direction. And you could hear that kind of scritchy, scratchy sound, but that's good. That shows
It's a good sign.
It's a good sign.
It's a good line. Can we create a disco ball?
You know, I have old bowling balls that I actually cover with mirror tile and do yard art out of them. So, all right.
Oh, yes.
Cool. Now we're just going to turn it. And I use the edge of my work table to line it up. You have to have the proper tools, and these are pliers that have texture on both ends. And then you're going to gently squeeze. This is like one of my favorite parts when it goes. And you're just going to kind of wiggle it, just a little wiggle. And you want to hold it here. And I'm just wiggling, moving it.
Oh.
I'm going to have to put my hip into it a little bit here. There we go. Well, not too bad.
Give me a crack. Maybe the hips.
And bring your hand down. You want to come, there you go. Ta-da!
Did you see that? That was remarkable.
So instead of going up, you need to kind of bring
Go
it down.
down.
Isn't that a wonderful feeling when that just...
That was really cool.
Okay. The last step is I want you just then to get used to using these wonderful nippers. And I'm just going to catch my mirror tile right there. You don't ever take and just cut the whole thing. You're just basically grabbing just a little edge of it and just a little tiny cut like that.
And it just cuts the entire piece. How is that? Why is that? Thank you.
It's, again, you're breaking that surface tension. So, you know, some people I've seen them where they're actually trying to cut through that whole piece, and you just want to catch the little edge of it. Good. You're a natural on that.
Woohoo! When I discovered through our conversation that you created I call them the disco ball herky,
Yes, the disco
on
herky.
the campus there by the old Hampshire. How was that to create?
That's
It's pretty big.
It was huge, and it was really fun. I loved it. Once you get these pieces all in place, then you know what your next step is after you've used your adhesive and arrange things is you take and put grout in between the opening.
Thanks for giving me the assignment. Now
You did a
I'm going to
great
be
job.
knocking on your door. I need a new disco ball. Let's go after it. Let me cut. Let me get to it.
I think you could probably be producing them yourself in no time.
Then I can sell them, because those things are pretty pricey, you know? I'm going to find out the secret here.
So the secret is you can basically cover anything with mosaic tile and have wonderful sculptural pieces. I take furniture, walls, floors, whatever.
Whatever
you
it
name
has. Well, there you go. So that's your lesson about mosaics. And thank you for tuning into this segment of Frame. Frame is sponsored by Allegra and in Bill's Staymates, Click Marketing Solutions, Style Folio Jewelry,